She said it was just a quick business trip, a 2-day conference in Miami. Nothing special, she assured me as she packed her suitcase. But there was something in the way she avoided my eyes, in the pause before she kissed me goodbye. It felt scripted off. I wanted to believe her. I really did. We had been married for years, had a life, a rhythm. But lately something was different. She was always on her phone, holding it like it contained government secrets. Her smartwatch buzzed constantly, and she'd always glance at her notifications in private, turning slightly away so I couldn't see. The warmth between us was fading, slowly replaced with vague excuses and growing distance. Still, I didn't say anything, not yet. I needed something solid, something undeniable. When she told me she was flying out Thursday morning, I smiled, hugged her, said I'd miss her. But inside, I was already putting a plan into motion. Her name is Madison, and she thought she was being clever, but she didn't. Know what she'd forgotten is that months ago, I helped her set up her smartwatch to sync with our home network. It was meant for sharing playlists and tracking workouts. She never thought twice about it after that. But I remembered the night she left. I stayed up. I watched her fitness data roll in. At 11 p.m. a time, when she should have been asleep in a hotel bed, her heart rate spiked. Movement was recorded at 3 a.m., and a location tag popped up that didn't match her supposed hotel in Miami. That's when it clicked. This wasn't a business trip. This was personal. We were supposed to visit her parents that weekend for her dad's retirement party, a big event. Family, speeches, food. Instead, I told them she'd been delayed at work but that I'd still come. Everyone was disappointed, especially her dad, who always treated me like one of his own. That stung even more, knowing what she was really doing while he waited for her. They had a large smart TV in the living room, compatible with her smartwatches. Mirroring feature, same brand, same system. Because our devices were all connected through our share cloud, I had full access. I greeted everyone at the party, acted normal, polite. Then I waited. About halfway through dinner, her dad stood up to give a speech. Everyone was in a good mood, laughing, sharing memories. That's when I made my move. Said I had a surprise. From Madison, a message she wanted to share with everyone. Heads turned. Her mom clapped, smiling. I pulled out my phone, connected to the sync cloud, opened her watch gallery, and selected mirror to nearby screen. The TV lit up. Her name appeared. First it was just fitness data steps, heart rate harmless. Someone even joked about how committed she was to staying fit. Then the notifications started to roll in. Messages from an unfamiliar name. Miss you already. Last night was amazing. You forgot your hoodie, babe. And then the photo selfies in a bed. A wine glass in her hand. A man's arm draped over her shoulder. More images followed. The same man, shirtless. Kissing her neck. Time-stamped. Location tagged. Not Miami. Not a conference. A private beach rental in Key West. The room fell completely silent. Her mom gasped. Her brother stood like he was ready to fight. Her dad just stared at the screen, speechless. I said nothing. I let it all play. And then, just to make sure the picture was crystal clear, I opened her messages. Wish we didn't have to hide. Maybe someday we won't. Someone whispered, what the hell? Stepped back, arms folded, heart pounding, but face calm, and finally spoke. She told me it was a business trip. I figured you all deserved to know the truth. Her mom looked devastated. Her dad left the room without a word. Her brother clenched his fists. I didn't need an answer when he asked who the guy was. Her messages were doing all the talking. One of them even read, don't worry, he suspects nothing. Just act normal when I'm back. Her mom, still in shock, muttered, this can't be real. Must be someone else's device. It's hers, I said quietly but firmly. Synced through our cloud, her messages, her photos, her watch. There was nothing more to hide. So I played one last thing, voice memo. Just her talking to herself, forgetting it would be saved. Note to self, book the rental under a fake. Name next time. Can't risk the date showing on the receipt again. And delete this later. Seriously, another memo followed. He's getting suspicious. I think he saw one of the texts. Need to fake a work emergency or something. I paused the recording. I looked around the room at the people who had accepted me, celebrated our marriage, invited me into their lives. And now, here I was, showing them what their daughter had been hiding. I didn't want to do this, I told them. To be sure, I wasn't crazy, that my instincts hadn't been lying to me. Now I'm sure. Her mom wiped her face with a napkin, tears in her eyes. Why wouldn't she just tell us? Why lie? Because liars don't just lie to cover up, I said. Hey, they lie to protect the image of themselves they want you to believe in. Her brother asked what I was going to do next. I didn't hesitate. I'm done. I already talked to a lawyer. Divorce papers are being filed. We serve this week. The silence that followed wasn't heavy like before. It was quieter, final, like a door closing. I said my goodbyes shortly after. I didn't want to stand in that house, soaking in the wreckage. I had said what needed to be said. They had seen what they needed to see. That was enough. That night she called once, then again. Then the texts poured in. The first ones were full of rage. How could you do that at my parents' house? Then the fear crept in. Ryan, please, just talk to me. And finally, the guilt trips. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. That was cruel. I didn't reply. I didn't block her either. I just let the silence say everything I needed to. I wanted her to sit with the silence, to feel the weight of her own words echo unanswered into the stillness. I wanted her to hear how loud the truth becomes when there are no more lies left to tell. But then, 2 a.m., the most pathetic text came through. I didn't mean for it to get this far. They never do. No one ever means to destroy a marriage. They just don't stop themselves when the fire is right there in their hands. The days after were quiet. I stayed away from mutual friends, blocked out the gossip, and buried myself in work. But the fallout came fast. Her family stopped defending. Her own mother called Manat to apologize. She said she didn't understand what her daughter was going through, that she made horrible choices. I thanked her, but I couldn't offer forgiveness on Madison's behalf. It wasn't mine to give. What I didn't expect were the people who reached out with stories of their own friends, coworkers, even an old college roommate. It turns out this wasn't her first betrayal, just the first one that couldn't be denied. Once I understood that, I realized this was never just about me. It was about who Madison really was when no one was watching. It's time, though. Everyone was watching. I thought the worst part would be the betrayal itself, seeing the photos, reading the messages, watching it all play out on the TV while her family sat in stunned silence. But what hit me harder than anything was the quiet that followed. No more lies, no more excuses, just a brutal clarity of truth sitting heavy in the room like smoke after a fire. Madison tried to reach out over and over. She came to the house, one night, crying and knocking on the door, begging me to talk. I didn't open it. I stood on the other side and listened. She said it was a mistake, that it wasn't real, that she was ending it and wanted to fix things. She didn't want to fix you, she wanted to fix the story, patch the holes in her carefully curated image. I stayed silent. I watched from the upstairs window as she sat in her car for a long time, maybe hoping I'd come outside. I didn't. That was the last time I saw her in person. I thought that would be the end, but it was just the beginning. The guy she cheated with, Tyler, was one of her coworkers from a different branch. I only figured it out because he was tagged in a hidden photo folder. According to someone who used to work with him, he was known for harmless flirting. Only this time, it wasn't harmless. I didn't have to confront him. The story spread fast. Once a party video started making the rounds, people put 2 and 2 together. One of her cousins posted a cryptic quote about betrayal, and within hours, the whole thing unraveled. Madison wasn't just dealing with the end of our marriage. She was facing the reality of being exposed. Friends unfollowed her. Family stopped speaking up. People who once defended her disappeared into silence. Then her dad, who hadn't said a word to her since the night of the party, sent me an email, just a few lines. He thanked me for how I'd handled it all, said he was heartbroken and disappointed, but appreciated the respect I showed his family. I sat with that email for a long time. I didn't expect it, but it reminded me that even when trust is broken, the truth still matters. Meanwhile, I was moving on. I boxed up her things not out of anger, just because I had to. She texted me one night, asking where it all was. I sent her the storage unit address and the code. That was it. It's nothing more than what was fair. The real healing, though, came when I started finding pieces of myself again. I started running again, joined a photography group I'd always meant to try, reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with. Every small step was like taking a piece of myself back. One weekend, I drove out to the coast alone. No distractions, just me, the ocean, and the wind. I sat there for hours. No phone.
Oh.
No noise. And for the first time in a long time, I felt peace. Not the kind you fake when you're trying to survive something toxic. The real kind. The kind that feels like air after being underwater too long. That's when I understood. Madison didn't destroy me, she exposed herself. She revealed the truth of who she was, not just to me, but to everyone who once believed in her. And that truth, as painful as it was, became a gift. Because now I could rebuild something real. I started journaling, writing everything down. Not just the pain, but the lessons. Somewhere along the way, I realized I wasn't writing a story about heartbreak. I was writing a story about coming back not for revenge, not to prove anything to her, but to prove something to myself. A few weeks later, she sent one last message, just a sentence. I hope someday you'll forgive me. I'll never forgive myself. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Forgiveness, I've learned, isn't something you give to someone else to make peace. It's something you give yourself when you're ready to move on without needing anything from them. I let go of the need for her to hurt like I did. That's when I felt free. I didn't hate her, that would mean I still cared. By then, there was nothing left. No love, no hate, just space. Space between the people we used to be and the person I was becoming without her. The divorce went through without drama. No courtroom battles, no drawn-out arguments. She didn't contest anything. Maybe she was too ashamed. Maybe she just wanted to disappear. Either way, I signed the papers and walked away lighter than I'd felt in years. What she did taught me that trust is everything. A relationship without honesty is like a house built on sand, no matter how pretty it looks. It will collapse the moment anything shakes it. After the dust settled, I started spending more time with people who made me feel grounded. My brother. And I got close again. He'd always had doubts about Madison, but kept quiet out of respect. Now we grab burgers on weekends and talk football, just regular drama-free life. Some friends suggested I start dating again, but I wasn't in a rush. I wasn't looking to replace anyone. I was focused on healing, on figuring out the kind of person I wanted beside me going forwards, someone who knew how to be loyal when life got hard. One evening, I went to a small rooftop event. Nothing wild, just music, drinks, and a chill crowd. That's where I met Claire. It wasn't fireworks or instant chemistry. It was a conversation that felt easy. We talked about photography, bad movies, and how good people can make terrible decisions. I didn't tell her my story right away. When I finally did, weeks later, she didn't react with pity. She just said, "You deserve better." And that was it. No drama, just quiet understanding. That's when I knew healing wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about making someone regret hurting you. It was about proving to yourself that you could survive it and come out better. It's wiser, stronger. I don't know where Madison is now, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Whether she regrets it or not isn't my concern. She made her choices. I made mine. But here's what I'll say. When you reveal someone's lies using their own words in front of the people they swore would never find out, that's its own kind of justice. It's not because you yelled, not because you fought, but because you stopped protecting the land. Let the truth speak. And the truth, it always speaks loud enough once you stop covering for it. So if you've been lied to, cheated on, made to feel like you're losing your mind for trusting your gut, just know this. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You just gave love to the wrong person. But that love, it's still yours. And when you give it to someone who earns it or even just use it to rebuild yourself, you're already healing.